Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Men Tell No Tales. This is the fifth film in the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise, and this is directed by two new directors who are of Norwegian descent. They also directed Kon-Tiki, which was also a really good movie. And this movie is about Jack Sparrow looking for a certain artifact and more interested parties that are looking for the same artifact. And Captain Salazar, played by Javier Bardem, is on the hunt for Jack, and he wants revenge for something that Jack did to him many, many years ago. And so all these parties are converging towards each other, and we have a new Pirates of the Caribbean movie. The first Pirates of the Caribbean movie is one of those rare circumstances where everything comes together perfectly and it just ends up working. It's a concept that shouldn't work, but it just does, and it does a remarkable job of that. Dead Man's Chest is a fun movie, but it is a come down compared to Curse of the Black Pearl, and it is a huge come down, and that was a disappointing movie in the grander scheme of things. And At World's End is a very similar case of not being as good as the first one, but there are fun moments in both of these movies. On Stranger Tides, I'm not a huge fan of. I don't really like that movie. It wasn't a lot of fun. It's also the one I rewatched the least. And this is better than the fourth one. This is definitely something I can say. Dead Men Tell No Tales does have a lot more going for it, and a lot of that has to do with the performances. Johnny Depp, once again, is great as Jack Sparrow. He has owned this role. He can play this role in his sleep, and he does in Pirates of this movie, which can be considered a good thing or a bad thing, but he's just gotten so good at playing this character and just so used to it. He does a really good job of that. Javier Bardem as Salazar was amazing. He was a lot of fun. He had some really terrifying moments too. He was really well done, and some of the makeup for him is really impressive, and the effects on him were quite outstanding. Geoffrey Rush as Barbossa was also a ton of fun. It's always great to see him on screen. The new leads, played by Brendan Thwaites and Kaya Scodelario, they were also a ton of fun, and they added some flavor to this film. Especially Kaya Scodelario, I thought she was really fun. She was very entertaining at points. She had some really interesting moments. If they bring her back for a future movie, it'd be interesting to see where they go with her. And I did enjoy seeing all these characters back again. This is a visually good looking movie. There's some very nice visual effects on display. Sometimes there is some noticeable CGI, but it is very well done. The music, once again, is very soaring, good music. It's not composed by Hans Zimmer this time. It is composed by Jeff Zanelli, and it's good. It's also really good. It does have the cues from the Hans Zimmer scores, and it is a well shot movie. In fact, from technical perspective, this film really does succeed in terms of the visuals, in terms of the amazing way the film is shot. It does all look really good. I would say the biggest problem of this movie is its narrative and the pacing. This movie comes to a stop after the first 30 minutes, which are actually pretty good. After a while, it just stays on this one certain path where nothing much is happening. There's a lot of focus on characters that you don't really care about, and there's a lot of scenes which are just there for the sake of padding the runtime. And it wasn't until the last 20-25 minutes where the film gets really interesting again. And when it does, it's great. But aside from that, there is almost half a film which is not very great. And it's not very fun, which is really disappointing, because when you go to a film called Pirates of the Caribbean, you want a fun movie. And this one wasn't as fun for that long lull. There was also not a lot of good narrative backing in those scenes. There's some stuff that's brought up, and there are some things that are discussed between characters, but they're not very interesting. And there are times where it felt really slow, because the pacing of this film, despite the fact that it is the shortest of the 5 movies, feels a lot, and it feels like a longer movie than it actually is. But the last finale moments of this film are really good. They are great. I love the way the film ends as well. There is a post-credit scene, which I'm not going to talk about, obviously, because spoilers, but that's also a ton of fun. And I really liked some moments which are there for characters in between those lull moments that I was talking about, especially between Geoffrey Rush and Johnny Depp, which I'm again not gonna get into, but there are some intriguing things which are brought up over there. And as you get to know a lot more about Kaya Scodelario's character, that was also really interesting, as well as Brenton Thwaites. He's not there just to be a pretty face. He actually has a very important role in this movie, and I found it really good. I found it very interesting where they took his character as well. This movie also has some not very good humor, and there's a couple of points where there's a running joke about this girl being a really smart girl and the fact that she's kind of like a witch. She knows so much stuff. There is a literal witch in this movie, and then there's the metaphorical witch and this girl who knows everything. And every time we cut back to one person not being able to understand how smart this girl is, they keep calling her a witch. And in the first few scenes it made sense because you're in a society where people just can't understand, like, smart girls? How is that possible? And after a while it got pretty obvious and it got really tired, and it just didn't go well with the movie. So yeah, narrative honestly is the biggest issue in this movie for me after a while. It is not an incoherent storyline. It is very coherent. It is not as convoluted as, say, World's End got at one point. This movie has a very clear storyline. I just wish they could have made it a little more interesting. I wish they could have made it a lot more fun at points. And I wish they could have done a better job with some of the characters on display. And I would have liked to see a lot more. There are things that are brought up which I wish they could go deeper into, but in the end the movie does kind of fall apart. I do think it's not that bad though. I think you should still give it a look. If you are looking for some fun, I think you would still have some enjoyment over here. I'm gonna give Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales a 6.5 out of 10. So guys, Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know. You guys are the best. Thank you so much as always for watching. If you like this, please subscribe. And I will see you guys later.